Handle it yourself. We had no choice. Those were the only words my mother bothered to leave me, scrawled on a flimsy piece of paper, after abandoning everything we'd built together for 22 years. I stood there on the cracked driveway in Sacramento, California, the morning sun doing little to warm the icy dread seeping into my bones. Cardboard boxes, taped haphazardly and scrawled with my mom's familiar handwriting. Danielle's room. Danielle's books. Danielle's clothes. Were piled beside the porch like unwanted trash. Strangers, the new owners, peered through what used to be my bedroom window, their faces blurs against the hollow emptiness of the house. This wasn't just a house, it was my sanctuary, my childhood, my entire life, now reduced to a yard sale display. My name is Danielle Price, and at 22 years old, I had just finished my 3rd year at Northwestern University, chasing dreams of Silicon Valley, utterly oblivious that my reality back home had shattered into a million pieces. Finals had been brutal, 3 all-nighters fueled by energy drinks and the sheer determination to get back to my own bed, my own home, my own family. I'd even bought my mom a small gift during my layover in Chicago, a ceramic mug, "World's Best Mom," painted in cheerful yellow letters. The irony of it now felt like a punch to the gut. The Day bus from Chicago to Sacramento had been uncomfortable, but I was too excited to sleep, envisioning my dad's famous weekend pancakes, telling them about Professor Williams recommending me for a summer internship at Nexura Labs. When the cab pulled up to 1247 Oakwood Street that Tuesday morning, everything felt wrong. The lawn, once my mom's prized flower garden, was dead and brown. Curtains were gone, leaving the windows like vacant eyes. But it was the bold red "Sell Die" sign where our mailbox used to be that made my stomach drop. My duffel bag, once light with anticipation, felt like it contained the weight of the world as I approached the porch. And then I saw them, my life, carelessly packed, stuffed into garbage bags, abandoned. The note, fluttering on the front door, sealed my fate. No warning, no call, no explanation. Just those cold, dismissive words. My hands trembled as I dialed my mother. She answered with that familiar irritation she reserved for telemarketers. "What is it, Danielle? I'm busy." My voice cracked. "Mom, I'm standing in front of our house and there's a sold sign. All my stuff is on the driveway. What happened?" She sighed, as if my distress was a minor inconvenience. "Oh, that. We had to sell quickly. The market was good. We're starting fresh in Florida." "Florida? When? Why?" The questions tumbled out, desperate, unhinged. "You're an adult now, Danielle. You'll figure it out. We couldn't wait around for your schedule. Your cousin Patricia found us a great place in Tampa. The weather's better for your father's arthritis." Each word was a physical blow. "What about my room? My things? Where am I supposed to go?" Her voice was laced with casual cruelty. "You're 22. You should be independent by now anyway. We did you a favor, really. Now you're forced to grow up. A favor. They sold my childhood home, left my belongings on the street, and called it a favor." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "Don't be so dramatic. Everything's in boxes. Nothing's damaged. Look, we have to go." "You're smart. You'll figure something out." The line went dead. I stared at my phone, my reflection pale, shocked, abandoned. 22 years of family dinners, birthday parties, Christmas mornings reduced to, "You'll figure it out." My dad's voicemail, recorded years ago, played a cheerful, cruel joke. Neighbors peeked through their windows. Mrs. Henderson, from next door, stepped onto her porch, shading her eyes, trying to get a better look. Humiliation burned through me. I grabbed the heaviest box. Vision blurring with tears I refused to shed. Whatever warning signs I'd missed, whatever financial troubles they'd hidden, none of it mattered. They had made their choice, and that choice didn't include me. The next few hours were a haze of desperate calls. My roommate Jessica was in Seattle, my study group friends scattered. The isolation hit harder than the abandonment. Finally, Maya Patel, a girl from my freshman dorm who dropped out to start her own web design business, answered. "Danielle, oh my God, what's wrong? You sound terrible." Through tears I couldn't control anymore, I explained. Maya listened, a steady, empathetic presence. "Pack whatever you can carry and come over. I have a couch and my roommate's out of town for 2 weeks. We'll figure out the rest later." Her simple act of kindness broke something open in my chest. I'd been holding myself together through sheer stubbornness. Maya's offer reminded me that not everyone would abandon me. I spent the afternoon sorting through my scattered life, deciding what to carry, what to leave. Photo albums, yearbooks, stuffed animals all went into the leave-behind pile. I kept my laptop, textbooks, 2 weeks of clothes, and a small wooden jewelry box my grandmother had given me. The hardest part was leaving my childhood bedroom furniture on the curb, the desk where I'd done homework, the bookshelf my dad had built, the mirror where I'd practiced college interviews. All abandoned, as if they'd never meant anything. As I loaded my salvaged belongings into Maya's car, I made a decision. I pulled out my phone and systematically blocked every number connected to my parents' mom's cell, dad's work phone, even Aunt Carol, who might try to mediate. Then I deleted their contacts entirely. You sure about this? Maya asked. They made their choice, I said, surprised by the steadiness of my voice. Now I'm making mine. But even as I said the words, I couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't the end. People who abandoned responsibilities usually came crawling back when they needed something. And when that day came, I'd be ready. Living with Maya meant to be temporary, stretched into 3 months. I scrambled, picked up a part-time job at a coffee shop, finished summer coursework online, sleeping on Maya's couch, pretending that waking up homeless hadn't derailed my carefully planned future. The worst part wasn't the discomfort or the financial strain. It was the constant, gnawing question why. What kind of parents sell their house and move across the country without telling their child? What kind of emergency forces you to abandon your daughter with nothing but a sticky note? I threw myself into work and school with an intensity that worried Maya. You're gonna burn out, she warned one evening. I can't afford to, I replied, hunched over my laptop at 2 a.m. I lost everything once. I'm not letting that happen again. Maya sat beside me. Have you considered that maybe they had a good reason? I snapped. There's no good reason for what they did. If they were in real trouble, they could have called. They could have explained. They could have given me more than 12 hours notice. But Maya's words stuck. Over the next few weeks, I found myself researching them online. James and Patricia Price. No social media, no public records in Florida, no trail. It was Brandon, a coworker at the coffee shop, who provided the first clue. Scrolling Facebook, he looked up, confused. Hey, didn't you say your parents moved to Florida? He turned his phone towards me, a group photo from a Sacramento Community Board meeting, May 15th. In the back, barely visible, but unmistakably, my father, James Price. The photo was dated 3 days before I came home to the sold sign. My hand started shaking. That's impossible. They told me they'd already moved. Brandon zoomed in. Definitely your dad, right? I stared at the photo until my eyes burned. My father was in Sacramento 3 days before I came home. This wasn't a quick sale. They'd planned this. They'd sat in community meetings, discussed their move with neighbors, probably celebrated their clever escape from parental responsibility. I need to make a phone call, I told Brandon, grabbing my purse and heading for the alley. I unblocked my mother's number, my heart hammering. She answered, cautious. Danielle, is everything okay? You lied to me, I said, flat and cold. You were still in Sacramento when I came home. Dad was at a community meeting 3 days before you abandoned me. Silence. When she finally spoke, her voice had lost all pretense of concern. So what difference does it make? The outcome is the same. The difference, my voice rising, is that you had time to plan, time to call me, time to arrange something better than leaving me homeless with a sticky note. You chose to do it this way. You wanted to abandon me without having to deal with my reaction. Oh, for crying out loud. Danielle, you're being ridiculous. We knew you'd figure something out. You always were resourceful. Besides, it's working out fine, isn't it? You're independent now, just like we always wanted you to be. Independent. I laughed, a bitter, humorless sound. You think making your daughter homeless is good parenting? We didn't make you homeless. We gave you an opportunity to stand on your own feet instead of running back to mommy and daddy every time things got difficult. Her voice, that familiar condescending tone. You should be thanking us. Thanking them. The rage that had been building for months finally found its voice. For what? For teaching me that the people who are supposed to love me most will abandon me without warning. For showing me that family means nothing when it becomes inconvenient. You're being dramatic. We raised you for 22 years. We paid for your education, put a roof over your head, fed and clothed you. We didn't owe you anything after that. Each word was a slap. Most kids move out at 18. We gave you 4 extra years. You gave me nothing? You took everything away? I was crying now, hot tears of fury and hurt. I loved you. I trusted you. I came home excited to see you, and you threw me away like garbage. Well, maybe this will teach you not to be so dependent on other people. The world doesn't owe you anything, Danielle. The sooner you learn that, the better off you'll be. The casual cruelty in her tone broke something inside me. You're right, I said quietly. The world doesn't owe me anything, and neither do you. Which means I don't owe you anything either. What's that supposed to mean? It means I'm done with you, with Dad. With pretending we're a family. You want me to be independent. Congratulations. You've created someone who doesn't need you at all. I took a shaky breath. Don't call me again. Don't text me. Don't send Christmas cards or birthday messages or guilt trips through relatives. You wanted me out of your life. You got it? Now you're being childish. I hung up, blocked her again, blocked my father, Aunt Carol, anyone who might try to guilt me. I deleted voicemails from happier times, removed family photos from social media. Maya found me in the alley, still shaking. They're sociopaths, she said flatly. Normal parents don't plan to abandon their children and then act like it's a favor. I keep thinking I must have done something wrong. I whispered. I got good grades. I stayed out of trouble. I called them every week. I loved them. And that's exactly why this isn't your fault. Maya pulled me into a fierce hug. You were a good daughter to bad parents. Some people just shouldn't have kids. As we walked back into the coffee shop, something shifted inside me. The part that hoped for reconciliation, the part that made excuses, finally died. They'd shown me exactly who they were, and I was finally ready to believe them. The revelation about their calculated abandonment sparked something dangerous in me, a cold, focused determination that surprised even Maya. Instead of self-pity, I channeled my rage into action. I applied for every scholarship, grant, and work-study program. I took extra shifts at the coffee shop, freelance cybersecurity consultations. By August, I had my own studio apartment near campus. Tiny, barely larger than a walk-in closet, but it was mine. No one could sell it out from under me or leave me with a sticky note goodbye. Maya helped me move my few belongings. Sure you don't want something bigger, she asked. This is perfect, I said. It's exactly what I need. What I needed was complete self-sufficiency. I threw myself back into studies, attacking cybersecurity coursework like my life depended on it. Every skill, every certification, every connection was another layer of armor. Professor Williams noticed the change. Danielle, your latest project on network penetration testing is graduate-level work. Have you considered accelerating your degree timeline? I had. How fast could I finish? If you take summer courses and overload your schedule, you could graduate a full year early. The workload would be intense, but based on your recent performance. He shrugged. I think you could handle it. That night I mapped out an aggressive academic plan, graduating in December instead of next spring. 6 courses per semester, internships every break, no social life. But it also meant entering the job market a year ahead, with less debt, and a year more distance from the people who'd abandoned me. The plan was working perfectly until November. I was in the middle of a challenging cryptography assignment when my phone buzzed with a notification I hadn't seen in months, a message request on social media from Patricia Price. My mother had found me. Danielle, honey. I know you're angry, but we need to talk. Please call me. We're in trouble and we need your help. You're the only one who can help us now. I stared at the message, my heart racing. Part of me wanted to delete it, to maintain the wall I'd built. But a larger part was curious. What kind of trouble? I screenshotted the message, sent it to Maya with a single question mark. Her response, oh, hell no. Don't even think about it. But I was thinking about it. Not because I wanted to help them, that ship had sailed. I was thinking about it because for the first time since their abandonment, I held all the power. They needed something from me, something they couldn't get anywhere else. After months of being left behind, discarded, dismissed, the idea of being needed felt intoxicating. I opened my laptop and started researching what kind of trouble 2 middle-aged retirees could get into in Florida. Whatever it was, I had a feeling their cruel abandonment had been motivated by more than just a desire for my independence. I didn't respond to my mother's message immediately. Instead, I spent 3 days researching James and Patricia Price in Tampa, Florida, using every cybersecurity tool and technique I'd learned. What I found was even worse than I'd imagined. Public records showed they'd purchased a luxury condo in a gated community for $800,000, nearly 3 times what they'd sold our Sacramento house for. They'd bought a new Mercedes, taken several expensive cruises, all documented on my cousin Patricia's social media. But more interesting were the recent developments 3 months ago. My father had been arrested for investment fraud. He'd been running a Ponzi scheme targeting elderly retirees, promising impossible returns on cryptocurrency investments. The scheme collapsed when too many investors tried to withdraw their money. My mother's desperate message suddenly made perfect sense. They weren't in trouble, they were facing federal charges. And they needed their daughter, the cybersecurity expert, to help them hide their stolen money, manipulate evidence, or do whatever illegal thing they thought I might be willing to do for family. After discovering their crimes, a cold satisfaction settled over me. They'd abandoned me to chase easy money and a luxury lifestyle, and now that it had all fallen apart, they expected me to rescue them. The sheer audacity was breathtaking. I crafted my response carefully. I'm sorry to hear you're having difficulties. Unfortunately, I'm very busy with my studies and work. I'm sure you'll figure something out. You always said I needed to be more independent. Perhaps it's time for you to follow your own advice. I hit send and immediately blocked her on that platform too. Within hours, I received friend requests from my father, Aunt Carol, and 2 people I didn't recognize, probably family friends recruited to reach me. I blocked them all without opening their messages. The next week brought a flood of attempts, unknown numbers calling my work, emails to my university account, even a certified letter forwarded from my old address. I ignored everything, focusing instead on my final projects and job applications. Maya watched my systematic rejection of their pleas with something approaching awe. You're really not going to help them at all. Help them what? Hide stolen money. Obstruct justice. I shrugged. They taught me that family doesn't owe each other anything. I'm just following their lesson. The breaking point came in December, just weeks before my early graduation. I was walking across campus after my last final exam when a woman approached me near the library. She was middle-aged, professionally dressed, and carried herself with the confidence of someone accustomed to getting answers. Danielle Price, I'm Agent Sandra Martinez with the FBI. I'd like to speak with you about your parents. My blood ran cold, but I forced my voice to stay steady. I don't have parents. Agent Martinez raised an eyebrow. I understand you've been estranged, but I have records showing James and Patricia Price claimed you as a dependent on their tax returns through last year. They've also listed you as their emergency contact on several financial documents. That's news to me, I said. Honestly, I haven't spoken to them since last summer. Yet, they've been telling investigators that their daughter is helping them manage their finances remotely. They claim you have access to several offshore accounts they've been using to hide assets. Agent Martinez studied my face carefully. They've provided your contact information and university records as proof of your technical capabilities. The rage that hit me was so intense I actually saw red spots at the edges of my vision. They hadn't just abandoned me. They were now trying to frame me for their crimes. Even after cutting all contact, they were still finding ways to destroy my life. I need to see identification, I said, pulling out my phone. And then I need to call my attorney. Agent Martinez looked surprised. You have an attorney? I will in about 5 minutes. I was already scrolling through my contacts to find the legal aid number the university had provided, because if my parents were claiming I helped them commit federal crimes, I needed legal representation immediately. The FBI investigation that followed was the most terrifying month of my life. But it was also the most vindictive. Every document I provided, every alibi I established, every piece of evidence that proved my innocence also proved my parents' guilt more conclusively. When they were finally sentenced to 15 years in federal prison, I felt nothing but relief that I'd never have to see them again. As I walked across the stage at graduation, 6 months ahead of schedule, diploma in hand and a job offer from Nexor Labs in my pocket, I realized that their abandonment had been the best thing that ever happened to me. It had forced me to become someone who could never be abandoned again. The ceramic mug, the one I'd bought for my mom, I still had it. I used it now for my morning coffee, a quiet reminder that sometimes the greatest betrayals lead to the strongest foundations.